host of the television talk show Lee Pitts Live, and of course the radio show as well that's airing 7 days a week, both products here in the Fort Myers area on my TV, the CW, and Wink. Yeah, we're dominating everything. We are here at a historic moment in a historic place. We got a historic high school grounds that we're on, the famed Dunbar High School, outstanding in all aspects and certainly in the academics and the STEM program.
Yes.
Also over our shoulder is Barton Street. That street soon will be named Joe North Way, who's a family member of Dunbar High School. And we're here for the naming ceremony of that event. What's so great about it is Joe North has gotten this naming ceremony based on his hard work. I call him the senator of Dunbar. Nobody loves Dunbar more than Joe North. Now, there might be some people who love Dunbar just as much as Joe North, but nobody more. For example, Aubrey Daniels right here, the athletic director at Dunbar High School. Johnny Streets right here, the councilman for City of Fort Myers, Ward 2, who's going out shortly. Both of them love Dunbar just as much as Joe North. So without further ado, let's get some comments for them before the program starts. Councilman Johnny Streets, you are credited, and you should be credited, with making this event today happen. Sure, there were other mechanisms within the city structure, outside of the city that were a part of it, but I want to personally give you 100% of the credit for having a vision for having a street name after such a prominent kid who grew up in this area. Tell us why you felt that this would be appropriate.
Well, first of all, thank you, Lee, for having me, but there's one word that comes into mind as I begin, and it's the word character. And Joe simplifies the meaning of character based on his family, based on his contributions to our community, and based on his just caring to show people that if he can do it, all of us can do it.
Yes. When you think about Joe North and you think about his family and you think about Dunbar High School and how they are so tied together, what comes to your mind?
The other word would be discipline. A disciplined family kept Joe in line. You couldn't afford to make a mistake because you had a loving family, you had a loving community, and that's what it was all about, is that you wanted to be somebody, you wanted to do something that was positive. So like I say, he just had the intuition to say, you know what, I love Fort Myers, I live here, I was born here, and I'm gonna stay in Fort Myers like I did and make it great.
Everything came together, all the stars lined up. Councilman Johnny Streets had become a historic city councilman. That took place years ago. Aubrey Daniel became the athletic director for the Dunbar High School. Once they retrofitted this middle school, turned it into a high school, that took place years ago. Right. Carl Burnside became a principal, historic here. That took place years ago, many. And then Lee Pitts Live happened to have a television show that started 30 years ago. So all the stars lined up for this particular moment, Aubrey.
Yes, it did.
Aubrey, athletic director. We see the football stadium, the North Law Firm football stadium, has Joe North's name on it. What has that meant to this historic high school?
To me, it's something in which he's giving back to the community. And he just didn't stop there. Anytime we need anything, he's there. Anytime we need to speak to our boys or the community or the girls, he's there. And it's very important that they realize that if he was raised up here, they can do what he did. But again, piggybacking on Councilman Street, you have to have that discipline and the character. And thank you for asking me to make such comments. I sure appreciate that.
Two, we know that Joe North was a standout track and field athlete. But as he is getting this award, Aubrey, today, he's getting that largely due to his academic excellence, his workmanship, his craft that he's mastered as an accident and negligent security attorney in the community. What does that do in terms of having a street named after somebody he's the only attorney in the region that we know of that has a street named after him? What does that say about him in terms of his reputation, his credibility, and so on and so forth?
It says a lot. It says a lot. Because if you notice, the majority of the names that these streets are named after. They are athletic.
That is
He's
right.
non-athletic, but his academic and his discipline and his character, and more so his giving to the community, was one of the important variables. And I just have to salute Councilman Street for doing these things and making this happen.
Outstanding. As I was telling Joe, and he was so modest about it, I said, Joe is naming a whole lot of other people out of this community, Councilman Street, that he thought were more successful and contributed more. I said, Joe, you can be modest about that, man, but when you look at the people who actually came back and gave back,
Right.
not just left and they were famous, but come here and got their footprint here, there's nobody more deserving than you. What's your thoughts on that, Johnny Streets?
Well, you know, you're right, Joe.
In terms of a street name.
Modest. It was destined to happen. That's not what one starts out at the end of their career or beginning of their career or in the middle of their career to have something named after them.
No.
They just, it's kind of like being a school teacher. You teach because you're not looking for a principalship. You teach because you just can't help it. To motivate people to follow in the footsteps of those who have gone before us and make them proud.
This is going to be one of your last ceremonial things that you do as a city councilman. I think by the end of the year, you will be moving on to bigger and better things as you retire from having served for at least 4 terms, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 4 terms, 4 enjoyable terms. There never was a time that I didn't want to go to work.
To have an event like this as one of the bookends for your sterling work that you've done over those 4 terms, what does that mean to you personally?
It speaks volume that this here, the man that we are honoring with the as a honorary. I mean honorary, but we know Joe. And
That's right.
Lee, you escaped certain things, but you had a hand in this too. So we're not going to leave you out of it, but we appreciate it because I couldn't have done this by myself. So I don't take full credit, but the community, it's just like being in law enforcement. When you're doing a great job, they'll let you know.
Yes.
And when you're not doing a good job in their community, they'll let you know. So people are letting Joe know how they feel about him, his services, and it's another side of Fort Myers that people probably don't get a chance to see. Okay, it's not just Dunbar.
Correct.
This is an honorary Dunbar.
Right.
Absolutely.
That believes in values, and that's where we're going with it. And there's more to come. And one last thing, his son is following in his footsteps.
Yes.
Joseph North Jr. We call him the junior senator of Dunbar. I don't know if you know that.
No, I
but
don't know
Aubrey, we've seen some street namings over the years.
Right.
But from what I'm observing right now, the type of pumping circumstance, the amount of people who are showing up, the food, the location, the stage, this is clearly the most successful street naming ceremony that I think we've had in this region.
And make it so bad and make it so good.
Go up a little higher with that mic.
Make it so good that it's right in the community, right in front of Dunbar High School. And our children can always look and say, if Joe did it, I can do it.
My man.
That's
When we have something like this, like a Dunbar High School, this helps dispel some of the misconceptions.
Yes, it does.
What are some misconceptions that you hope dispel?
Well, the stereotypes that only thing we produce out here is thugs, and they can see now we have more than what they believe we have. And that's a very important factor. And it gives, again, our children and our future generations to see that they can do it. If you have discipline, if you have character, and you have a good support system.
The athletic director here for Dunbar High School, the famed high school. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have both of you stop by. Going to try to get a few other comments from all these people who are chomping at the bits to get a seat here. And we'll be moving towards the grand finale, the Super Bowl of them all, as we pierce into the wonderful jewel box, which is Dunbar High School property and the naming of the North Law Firm Way. So remember, Miami might have the oranges, but the North Law Firm Way and the city of Fort Myers has got the
juice.
And Dunbar has got the
juice.
We'll be right back.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello, everybody. This is Lee. I'm so glad that you watched that particular show. And if you enjoyed that show, we got other shows like that. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch Lee Pitts Live on demand anytime. And also hit us up on all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live, and there you go.